Right now on KPIX 5 and streaming on CBS and Bay Area, an Oakland high school is shut down after dangerous chemicals are found in the groundwater beneath campus. Good evening, I'm Veronica Dela Cruz.
I'm Alan Martin. In less than an hour, parents of students at McClymonds High School will meet with school administrators to discuss their concerns. KPIX 5's Juliet Goodrich was just at a news conference concerning the discovery. She's live at McClymonds. And Juliet, what'd they tell you?
Well, parents and students certainly have a lot of questions, and here's the latest information that we got from the school district. They happen to find levels of TCE in the groundwater. They don't know where the source of it is coming from, but when they found that and they got that information, they decided to make the call immediately and have school shut down.
And so what we found was that this TCE had gotten into the groundwater and is under where we're standing right now.
When the school was removing an underground fuel tank outside the gymnasium last fall and did some testing, the unexpected was uncovered. Levels of TCE.
We were all surprised to find that TCE.
A cancer-causing chemical detected in groundwater under the campus.
We are concerned that it could be vaporizing, that is seeping up through the ground, exiting the ground and getting into the air, in particular in our buildings. So that's what we're highly concerned about right now. That's why we exercised the caution that we did by closing school and making sure that our staff and our students were out and safe.
The school's drinking water was not affected, but air testing is being conducted.
No, we had no idea that the school would be closing.
Parents got the call late last night. The high school will be closed the rest of the week and possibly into next week.
As a parent, I'm outraged because we just found out through a robocall, and now the news is putting out, the media is going to be the one to inform us. When I felt that, and I feel that as a parent, the school could have had a meeting with the parents.
The source of the TCE is not confirmed, but state and county officials believe it came from somewhere off campus, possibly a former plating shop business.
Right now, we don't have any data that says there is groundwater in the neighborhood. We have data that says we have it here, so we're starting here. We're moving quickly.
And so as it stands now, you can see McClymonds High School closed February 20th through the 21st, and that could also extend into next week. We told you about how parents and students have a lot of questions, and so the school district hopes to answer that. At 6 o'clock, they'll be having an open meeting at the Taylor Memorial United Methodist Church to answer some of those questions between 6 and 7:30, and we expect a lot of people to be there, and we certainly will be there as well, reporting live at 6 o'clock. Alan, back to you.
Yeah, Juliet, I've got a question. I mean, typically we think of high schools as being in residential neighborhoods. That plating business you mentioned, certainly a commercial business, it'd be more industrial. What is that neighborhood like?
We are surrounded in a residential and commercial area. In fact, that plating business is just north of the school, so you might wonder if maybe that chemical had traveled south into the groundwater, so it could be affecting surrounding areas. Right now, we don't know, but tonight they're going to give us some information and alert people in this area where a lot of the students live here around the school to be forewarned.
And if not the plating business, there are others that are suspect as well, it would seem. All right, Juliet Goodrich, thanks so much. We'll look for your update. Now, we did first bring you that press conference live on CBS and Bay Area. You can watch 24/7 on KPIX.com and other digital platforms.
San Mateo police hope a new clue can help them crack a 44-year-old cold case. Detectives have a new picture that they're now linking to a missing woman. The problem is they don't know who he is. KPIX 5's Diane is live at the San Mateo Police Department with a call for the public's help. Da?
Right, this is a picture taken more than 4 decades ago. Right here, this young lady, she went missing. Next to her, the person of interest. Detectives are hoping someone will recognize and identify him.
It gives me hope, just, to give us all closure.
44 years. Not a day goes by without Jerry Roach thinking of his older sister, Sherry.
Maybe she is still alive, which I'm hoping for, but I know it's doubtful because I think if she was alive, she would have contacted me.
Jerry suspects foul play, but San Mateo detectives simply don't know what happened to her. She was reported missing in 1976 from a San Mateo halfway house that has since turned into a dental office. Jerry says they were very close. They grew up in Santa Rosa in a violent household. and that forced Sherry to bounce around foster and group homes. One day, the 17-year-old girl just vanished.
What individuals that might be considered serial killers that might have been in custody at the time when she had taken her, when she had disappeared. I even had to go through the Jonestown victim list to see that she might have been part of that.
Detective Tom Paulin uncovered this photo taken before Sherry went missing. She did not like to take pictures, so it was even more unusual to see a picture of her with a man a few years older. They heard rumors of a boyfriend, but none of the family members recognized the man. Investigators hope this person of interest can provide some leads, but they don't know who he is.
We're not giving up. In fact, we're intensifying the search.
Detectives say if Sherry is still alive, she will look similar to this age progression picture, and she would have just celebrated her 61st birthday.
I would ask her, you know, why she left or what happened, and that I loved her and I missed her.
Jerry and his mother still live in Santa Rosa. They're hoping one day they can reunite with Sherry. Again, if you recognize this man here, San Mateo Police would love to hear from you. Live in San Mateo, I'm Da Lin, KPIX 5.
An update this evening on the coronavirus in Santa Clara County. Now, we have learned that the first person confirmed with the sickness a couple weeks ago has fully recovered and has been released from isolation. They say that the patient was never sick enough to be hospitalized. They were one of 2 confirmed cases in Santa Clara County. And coming up at 6, we're going to talk exclusively with the family from the Bay Area that was on board that Japanese cruise ship at the center of the outbreak.
Also new at 5, a mountain lion that attacked a little girl at a Santa Clara County preserve over the weekend has been captured and killed. Fish and Wildlife officers spotted the young female in a tree, sedated it, and then compared its DNA to samples from the victim. Once the match was confirmed, the animal was euthanized for public safety. The 6-year-old victim is recovering from minor injuries.
A dry winter has taken hold here in California and the Bay Area. Well, now the feds say that some counties are already in a moderate drought. KPIX 5's Len Ramirez joining us live with what it means for our water supply. Len?
Well, here at Anderson Reservoir, which is the largest reservoir in the Santa Clara Valley system, the levels are kept abnormally low because of earthquake concerns. But even so, you can tell that the water levels are shrinking in this sunny, dry month of February. It is usually one of our wettest months, but not this year. It's a beautiful day to be out fishing for Steve Trimmer, but also something of a guilty pleasure.
I love the sunshine. Everything's great out here. When you're retired, you know, it's nice.
But what do you think about the lack of rain?
The lack of rain, that's bad. That's really bad.
With hardly a drop of rain in the entire month of February, 59% of California is now experiencing abnormally dry conditions, according to the Federal Drought Monitor. Compare this map from December, where areas of dryness are shown in yellow. This week, the map dramatically expands dry areas to include most of the state. And satellite photos of the Sierra snowpack show what a difference a year can make. On the left is 2019, on the right is this year.
We're still a ways off from before we're talking about the impacts on the water supply.
Matt Keller with the Santa Clara Valley Water District says above ground reservoir levels are down to 59% of average for this time of year. But underground wells, where most of the valley's water is stored, are full because of previous plentiful rainy seasons.
We've got another month or 2 to go of the rainy season, so once that's done, we'll evaluate, but we're in good shape as far as our water supply goes right now.
The Water District says residents are still cutting back their water usage by 21% compared to 2013 levels, and long-range plans include a greatly expanded Pacheco Reservoir off Highway 152. Concerns about drought conditions would only be raised if there were several dry years in a row.
You know, it's a dry year, but we've had dry years. You know, when we start seeing some of those repercussions is if you have consecutive dry years.
Now, one area of a little concern is that because this valley imports about 55% of the water it gets from the Sierra snowpack, they are looking at that very closely to see whether or not supplies will be cut from the state water project. They won't know that until a little bit later, until after the rainy season. You know, February is usually wet. March can be wet as well. So they're waiting to see if it is going to impact those imported water sources. Reporting live in Morgan Hill, Len Ramirez, KPIX 5.
Live look from our exclusive Salesforce camera where, like Len just said, we haven't seen any rain this month. Brian Hackney joining us now to tell us if there's any on the way. Brian?
Oh, maybe a drop or two. It's not going to make a dent in anything in the Bay Area. This low pressure that is behind my left shoulder is going to be moving into Vandenberg, into Southern California. So they will get rain where they usually don't expect it. Down in Los Angeles and San Diego, they'll pick up a quarter to a half an inch of rain. And it will be on the top side of the low. We might get a few sprinkles early on Saturday. It's not going to make a difference to the snowpack, which so far does not look good. It's only about half average for this time of the season. And while it has not rained in February at all, in fact, we haven't had any rain since January 28th, you know, the big reservoirs, the ones that we stick a straw into and take much of the water out, you know, those aren't looking that bad. In Shasta is actually above average storage. In Oroville and Folsom, Hatch Hatchie that supplies San Francisco is actually well above average. So it just depends on how much the snowpack is melting this early in the season. But the reservoirs, the big reservoirs outside of the Bay Area, those don't look bad. We could use the rain. We'll have our prospects for any more coming in when we cover the forecast in a few minutes. Alan?
We will look for you then. Thanks,
Okay.
Brian. Police are looking for suspects after 3 attempted carjackings in San Francisco, and they were just a few minutes and a few blocks apart. The first attack happened at 9th and Harrison. That was about 2:30 this morning. An Uber driver says he was waiting at a light when 3 people suddenly charged his car, but the driver was brave enough to fight them off.
One was trying to get in the driver's seat with a gun, pointing it at me, and I just kept whacking at the barrel and not letting him, and he kept trying to open my door, and he finally opened it, tried to yank me out, and I just kept fighting him.
Minutes later, about a half a block away, police say that the same suspects smashed the front window of this car while the driver was parked. Well, then a third similar incident happened minutes after at Mission and DuBose. Well, so far, no arrests.
The rescue has been seen around the world. A paraglider plucked from a set of power lines in Yuba County. Reporter Renee Santos explains the near catastrophe likely started with a slight miscalculation.
As long as we all stick to the same format, we start off with fundamentals.
Dave Jewell is still reeling over the astonishing rescue of a man left dangling, trapped in the middle of power lines. Jewell, who is a licensed pilot and also a paragliding instructor, says he was there as the man took off and landed during several successful trips near the Yuba County airport. He believes Mother Nature,
Although it was a light wind, it misjudged where he landed.
is a big reason why the paraglider went down, forcing the man to make a split-second decision.
One of the far right side parachute line caught the edge of a branch. A single lone branch caught it, hooked him around like a slingshot or a tetherball.
The paragliding crash is the latest incident in a matter of days. Last Friday, a Rockland man was killed following a crash in Truckee. And on Monday, a pilot was hurt after crashing in El Dorado County.
We've never seen anything like this.
Rebecca Wright watched anxiously for hours as first responders worked carefully to get the man down. What she saw firsthand has a lot of people still talking about the shocking rescue.
We're all very happy to hear he's okay. We're just all morning, my staff, we were talking about just how close it was.
And that was Renee Santos reporting there. Paragliders do not have to be certified pilots, and their equipment does not have to be registered, but proper training on navigation and airspace rules is required.
Still ahead on KPIX 5, streaming CBS and Bay Area. Does the punishment fit the crime?
Coming up, a longtime ally of President Trump finds out how long he will spend behind bars.
Plus, after a night of Michael Bloomberg bashing, why the presidential candidate says the real winner of the debate wasn't even on stage.
And coming up at 5:30, crooks snatch a woman's purse, but she's not going down without a fight. The dramatic scene playing out on camera. "40 months in prison. That's how long Roger Stone, President Trump's longtime ally, is expected to spend behind bars. After today's sentencing, Roger Stone emerged from court with people chanting, "Lock him up." Back in November, Stone was convicted of lying to Congress and threatening a witness regarding President Trump's 2016 campaign. But he's not going to jail just yet. The judge will first review Stone's request for a new trial based on allegations of political bias.
At some point, I'll make a determination. But Roger Stone and everybody has to be treated fairly. And this has not been a fair process.
President Trump granted clemency to disgraced former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich, fueling speculation he could pardon Stone.
The Democratic presidential candidates are back on the trail after last night's fiery debate in Las Vegas. Mike Bloomberg took the brunt of the attacks from other candidates, and today he said he's worried about the Democrats in general.
The real winner in the debate last night was Donald Trump. Because I worry that we may very well be on the way to nominating somebody who cannot win in November.
Bloomberg is making a push in the states with primaries on March 3rd, Super Tuesday. He's skipping 2 contests before then. Democrats other than Bloomberg are focused on Nevada, which holds its caucuses on Saturday. Then the South Carolina primary follows a week later.
I'm Ken Bessie of the Live News Desk. Let's take you to Colorado Springs right now. This is live. There's somebody else at the microphone, but you can see President Trump is standing on the stage right now. He is holding a campaign rally in Colorado Springs. That is Dana White, the speaker right now. There are other gentlemen up there with the president. The president's been criticizing Mike Bloomberg in a series of tweets, saying that he had, quote, the worst debate performance in history, of course, referring to what happened last night. We can listen in a little bit. The president's probably going to take the mic again here in just a second. Let's see what he has to say.
That was beautiful. Because, you know, we get tired of hearing from these politicians all the time, right, politicians, right? What a job he does, and we thank you very much, Dan, and you are my great friend, and thank you. So, I want to bring up a man who's going to win the election with us, and really, he has been. He's been so rock solid. You know, there were stories, will he? Because we're doing great in the state. We're doing great. And, you know, your Second Amendment, you like the Second Amendment. It's under siege.
The president obviously just setting up right now, introducing some of the other politicians from Colorado, Republicans. He's been doing what he's been doing the last several weeks, and that is talking to his base. He is currently on a swing through some western states, including California, to rake in campaign cash and fire up his supporters. Vice President Mike Pence is also at tonight's rally. Veronica?
All right, Ken, thank you. One of the candidates not at the debate, California businessman Tom Steyer. He spoke with our Michelle Griego on CBS Bay Area earlier. She asked who he thought won last night's debate.
But first, I want to just ask you what you thought of the debate.
I thought that the debate last night had a big winner named Donald Trump. I thought that, in fact, the candidates were so busy bickering with each other that they forgot that they were there to fight for the American people and beat Mr. Trump.
You can watch our full interview with Tom Steyer on CBS Bay Area, streaming 24 hours a day on KPIX.com and on other digital platforms. And check out the special section leading up to California's primary on KPIX.com/campaign2020.
A hack attack on MGM Resorts has exposed the personal information of millions of former guests. 10.6 million email addresses, phone numbers, and physical addresses were apparently exposed after a security breach last year. The company says about 1,300 of those guests had sensitive data exposed, such as driver's license, passport information. MGM Resorts hired 2 cybersecurity firms to investigate, review, and help fix the breach.
Well, Victoria's Secret is going private. L Brands is selling it to private equity firm Sycamore Partners in a $525 million deal. The brand has had slumping sales recently. Sycamore Partners will get 55% stake. L Brands will take control of the remaining 45%.
Oh, $500 million.
Billion.
That's a lot of underwear.
Billion. Yes, it
And
is.
now, ladies and gentlemen, from lingerie to the forecast. We've got...
keeping nothing secret
about
the forecast.
We believe in absolute transparency, especially as regards the possibility of probably 8 drops coming into the Bay Area on Saturday morning. Sorry about that. And that's going to be just about it. But with some high clouds over the Bay Area tonight, we do have the lovely makings of a sunset out there as we look from Treasure Island toward the city of San Francisco. The numbers are a little bit warmer than they were yesterday in the mid-60s. That makes it 2 degrees warmer in Santa Rosa at this hour. And the same for San Francisco. Just temperatures have not changed much in 24 hours in San Jose or Palo Alto, just to show you a tiny bit of a warming trend. And because of the high clouds that are over the Bay Area, the numbers tonight will fall only into the 40s. So not quite as cold. That low is just off the coast. So you see the high clouds that are floating in tonight. Those are all spinning from the south, from that low that's off the Big Sur coastline, destined to wind up off of Southern California. Look at the southerly flow from this, and you can also see that flow that comes from the east to the west. It's all coming on the top side of the low, so tomorrow it's going to be a mostly cloudy but not cold day. And then, this is the headline. Saturday morning. And then away it goes. Yeah, I have to tell you, there's really not much on the way. But Saturday morning, there's that much of a chance. So we get partly cloudy tonight, and then tomorrow we'll have a mostly cloudy day. Temperatures are going to be mild to warm again, mostly in the 70s, actually. Cooler weekend, though, on tap. After that low spin south, we get a slight chance on Saturday morning. And the high temperatures for tomorrow, still 74 in Santa Rosa. There will be more sun in the North Bay than in the South Bay. 73 in San Jose. Extended forecast, really, there's nothing on the way. There's some clouds. And then Monday through Thursday next week, the dry spell just continues. Veronica.
All right, Brian, we appreciate it. Thank you. Coming up next, the Giants have a new weapon, and he's got wheels. We're at spring training in Arizona with the fastest player in Giants camp.
Well, the Giants haven't had a player steal more than 20 bases a season since 2013, back when Barack Obama was in the Oval Office.
And that streak could end quickly this year. KPIX Sports Director Dennis O'Donnell is in Scottsdale with the fastest player in Giants camp.
When's the last time the Giants really had a speed burner on the base paths? You know, somebody who totally distracts opposing pitchers. They do now. His name is Billy Hamilton.
Alexander Hamilton has been on quite a run in San Francisco, but there's another one coming, and this one is faster.
There he goes. Pitch taken and no throw by Molina. Hamilton got a great jump.
I don't even try to distract the pitchers or anything. Just by me getting on base, it does it.
Billy Hamilton has 299 career steals. His success rate is 81.3.
Billy Hamilton puts everybody on edge when he's on base. It's just an added layer of stress for the opposition.
I definitely take pride in stealing bases, and like I said, that's what's got me to this point where I'm at in my career.
Now, the key for Hamilton is getting on base. He doesn't walk a lot, has a career average of just 242.
We know that ground balls are good for Billy Hamilton, but we know that line drives are better for him.
Every time I see you hit one in the air, you owe me 20 push-ups.
I do remember that. I don't think we're going to see Billy Hamilton doing any push-ups, but I can say that I don't think the best strategy is for any hitter is trying to beat the ball into the ground.
If his bat can match his glove, Hamilton might just be another act worth seeing.
I'm excited to be playing for the Giants and getting the chance to get out there and roam around.
From Scottsdale, Dennis O'Donnell, KPIX 5.
Wait for the musical. All right, coming up, a new East Bay Park will create more room for public walking and cycling.
But it will also serve as a very special and emotional place for Bay Area veterans.
Plus, emotional reaction after the body of a second California firefighter was found after a deadly library fire. The young suspect's now being charged.
When was the last time you saw your kids?
324 days ago, but I'm not counting. It's been a long time coming.
And a heartwarming reunion. See the moments a Bay Area father surprises his kids after returning from deployment.
You're watching KPIX 5 News at 5:30.
And right now on KPIX 5, streaming CBS Bay Area. The Alameda City Council just took a key step in creating a brand new shoreline park. But it's not just the public that'll benefit. Good evening, I'm Alan Martin.
And I'm Veronica Dela Cruz. KPIX 5's John Ramos reports the site will also include a final resting place for Bay Area veterans.
The council agreed to grant a 66-year lease to the East Bay Regional Parks to convert the old runways of the Alameda Air Station into a nature preserve and public space with views you can't buy anywhere. The old runways aren't exactly a thing of beauty, but someday soon these 158 acres will be preserved habitat for seabirds and other wildlife. There will be walking trails and bike paths and a chance for the public to commune with nature, all within sight of one of its greatest cities.
It's really unusual, especially in such an urban area, to have so much open space that we're bringing back to nature and getting kids, families, seniors, everyone out into nature right in their backyard.
But the park is only one part of this land's transformation. There is a plan to create a state-of-the-art VA medical center here and a columbarium, a national cemetery holding the cremated remains of former military members.
We are a Coast Guard city. The city is very proud of its Navy roots, and the opportunity to see the former Naval Air Station become a final resting place for veterans is very eloquent, and it is a very nice fit for what's going on.
The cemetery will start with 25 to 30,000 niches or burial containers, and Marine Corps veteran Joe Loparo says with the local military cemeteries already full, families have had to face the prospect of burying their loved ones as far away as Davis or the Central Valley.
At the rate we're going, those 30,000 will fill up the day it opens because it's been such a long wait. I know many veterans, including my family, have ashes at their homes. And we are waiting for the facility. We can't even reserve a space until the actual facility is open.
But as decades pass, the Alameda facility will have room to grow to become one of the largest national cemeteries in the nation, holding the remains of up to 300,000 veterans. The wheels of progress grind slowly, especially for the federal government, so it may take some time, but if all goes as planned, this will one day be a place of beauty and remembrance that the whole Bay Area can enjoy. In Alameda, John Ramos, KPIX 5.
Now, the Navy still has to transfer that land to the city so it can give it to the Parks District. But there's some encouraging news. An additional $27 million was included in the 2021 budget to support that veterans facility. Look at our top stories at 5:30 now. San Mateo police are releasing new clues that they hope will help them crack a 44-year-old cold case.
Detectives now have a picture of a person of interest linked to the disappearance of Sherry Roach. She was reported missing in 1976 when she was 17 years old. Investigators hope this person of interest can provide some leads, but so far they don't know who he is.
Oakland's McClymonds High School's closed until further notice after the industrial solvent trichloroethylene turned up in the groundwater under the campus. Now, it was not found in the school's drinking water, but there are concerns the chemical plume could be vaporizing into the air. So air samples will be taken over the weekend to determine the next steps.
San Francisco police are searching for the suspects behind 3 attempted carjackings. They happened overnight in Soma within 30 minutes of each other. One victim, an Uber driver, says the suspects pointed a gun at him, but he was able to fight them off. So far, no arrests.
A wrong-way crash might have been caused by a drunk driver is under investigation this evening in Los Gatos. This happened overnight, northbound Highway 17 near Lark Avenue. Those vehicles, as you see, mangled and smoldering. When crews arrived, 33-year-old driver of the Jeep, well, now facing DUI charges. Authorities say that person is also in critical condition.
Another overnight crash, this one fatal. It happened on northbound 680 in San Jose near the Jackson Road off-ramp. Authorities say the car had a light pole and several signs. One person was pulled from the car and died at the scene. Investigators still looking into what caused it.
Well, we are learning more about the missing hiker found alive in Marin County earlier this week. Doctors do believe 76-year-old Robert Bennett suffered a stroke out on the trail Monday night. A pair of tracking dogs found him near Big Rock Ridge in Marinwood on Tuesday night. Bennett currently recovering in the ICU. Now, his family says they are extremely grateful to the rescuers who saved his life. And new details on the missing couple lost in the Inverness area of Marin County. Search crews say that the rescue mission has now turned into a recovery mission for 77-year-old Kara Kaparsky and her 72-year-old husband Ian Irwin. Our crew did spend the day in the search zone with crews. We're going to have much more on it coming up at 6 o'clock.
The body of a second Central Valley firefighter has been pulled from the rubble of the Porterville Public Library. Two 13-year-old boys are accused of burning it to the ground. 25-year-old trainee Patrick Jones and 35-year-old Captain Ray Figueroa were looking for other people that were possibly trapped in the burning building, but they were overcome by flames late Tuesday afternoon. The two teens were arrested on suspicion of manslaughter and arson.
It's sad. It really is. Like, kids started this fire, and now some kid doesn't have his dad. It doesn't feel real. It doesn't.
The library was just 500 feet from the fire station. It was built in the 50s and did not have a sprinkler system.
The man who came up with computer commands that most of us take for granted has passed away. As a researcher at Xerox back in the 1970s, Larry Tesler developed the cut, copy, and paste feature. Well, then Steve Jobs hired him to work at Apple, where he rose to become chief scientist. He also served stints at Amazon and Yahoo. Larry Tesler was 74 years old.
It's one of the most popular and pricey workout apparel brands. Lululemon leggings can cost you $150 a pair. We went undercover, and you won't believe how low these prices are at one Bay Area flea market. So how's it possible?
Are they real or just like?
Yeah, it's real. Everything is real.
So is it a deal or is it a steal? Watch our original report tonight on the KPIX 5 News at 7. The state of California's internment camp apology.
Coming up, hear from a Bay Area native who was imprisoned in one of the camps at just 5 years old.
And it's one of California's most well-known colleges, and now it's offering free tuition. But there is a major catch.
A KPIX 5 exclusive. Coming up, all new at 6. A cruise of a lifetime turns into a nightmare for a Bay Area couple, now battling possible symptoms of the coronavirus. Why they say the U.S. response worries them.
California is now apologizing for its role in helping the U.S. government put Japanese Americans in internment camps during World War II. The State Assembly passed a resolution today that also apologized for discrimination leading up to the war. Elderly survivors of the camps and their families were on hand for today's vote. And one man who spoke was just 5 years old when he was in prison.
Being a young person, I didn't really suffer that much. Continued my education and, went to the university in California here. But I think about the people like my parents. They suffered a lot more.
In 1942, President Franklin Roosevelt signed an executive order that led to the imprisonments. About 120,000 people were held in 10 camps, including 2 here in California.
USC taking a step today to make college more accessible. The university announcing it will offer free tuition to families making under $80,000. The new policy kicks in for the upcoming school year this fall. USC's president says she hopes the move will encourage more lower and middle income students to apply.
Well, somebody in the East Bay became an instant millionaire overnight. A Powerball ticket worth $7 million was sold at the Food Max on Llewellyn Boulevard in San Leandro. Now, it matched 5 numbers in last night's draw, but missed the Powerball number. The jackpot for Saturday's drawing, by the way, has grown to $60 million.
Coming up next, a dramatic purse snatching caught on security camera. Why the victim never saw it coming.
New at 5, an Anaheim woman was dragged across a shopping center parking lot as she fought off a pair of purse snatchers.
Reporter Michelle Geely shows us if her attackers thought they were picking an easy target, they thought wrong.
They are picking the wrong person. They picked the wrong person. Because I could be an older woman, but I'm very strong.
Imelda Neese got deep cuts on her hands, arms, and knees as 2 women in a car dragged her along the asphalt through a Walmart parking lot in Anaheim, trying to rob her.
I got blood all over my hand, all over.
Police say these are the women who wanted her purse, but the 67-year-old told me she was not letting go. Cameras were recording the frightening crime last Thursday morning. Imelda Neese is next to her car where the arrow is pointing, putting groceries in the back seat as a white car, possibly a Nissan Sentra, pulls up close to her. Niece says the passenger reached out of the window and grabbed her purse, which was on her shoulder. As the driver sped up, the Anaheim woman was hanging on and on for 150 feet, bloody and injured as the car kept going.
I did not let it go. They dragged me, and I still did not let it go. They dragged me. You could have seen my pants got hole in it. Hole. My shoes get a hole in it. I was bruised all over.
This surveillance footage shows the suspects inside the Walmart before the robbery occurred.
Imelda Niece says from now on she's carrying only her driver's license and one credit card in her purse and will be very careful.
If this person who tried to rob me asked me, would you be able to spare some change because I'm hungry or I need some gas for my car, I'm willing to give you the money, but don't hurt me. Don't hurt me.
And that was Michelle Geely reporting there. The would-be purse snatchers are still on the run.
Well, the great escape, it wasn't. An Ohio inmate only made it a few feet before literally landing right back in jail. You got to see it. Security camera shows Jessica Boomershine climbing up into the ceiling of this facility in Dayton as the other inmates look on there. Her bungled bid for freedom ended 15 seconds later when she came crashing through the ceiling tiles right into a trash can. Boomershine being held for the robbery and brutal beating of an 85-year-old man. Well, now she's facing new charges for escape and destruction of property.
This year's flu vaccine is proving effective for millions of Americans. The Centers for Disease Control estimates that the vaccine has reduced flu-related doctor's visits by 45% overall, 55% for children. Health officials also say it's not too late to get a flu shot, and that's because the season is still far from over.
Right now, the map of the United States looks pretty red, and that means that there's a lot of flu activity. Most of the areas have the highest level of flu activity that we see during a season.
The flu season got off to an early start with a strain called influenza B. Now there's a second wave. It's labeled H1N1. Doctors say the vaccine appears to be less effective against H1N1 with younger adults.
Well, you may have to adjust your trip into and around San Francisco soon. Here's KPIX 5's Gianna Franco with some big transit changes.
Two public transit agencies will be making major changes, and those get underway this weekend. So a couple things you want to keep in mind if you plan on taking Caltrain or Muni. Caltrain electrification work begins on Saturday, which means they will temporarily suspend weekend service. Trains will originate and terminate at Bayshore now. No stops at 4th and King or 22nd Street. Again, this is happening only along the areas there and on the weekends. During the week, train service will resume through that area. So do plan for that. That will extend through the end of March. Muni changes starting this weekend as well. Metro service, one-trip rides, weekend early service will now be available. Bigger buses for the 7-Hade Noriega line to help with overcrowding. Richmond Express will now have a time change for the last runs of the day, and there will be reroutes for 23 Monterey from Gerald to Palouse. So do make sure you check those schedules before you head out the door.
Brian Hackney joining us now with a look at the oh-so-important weather forecast.
Because we're getting close to the weekend. Close enough.
It is getting close to the weekend, and it looks like encore performance after encore performance.
Yay,
There's
standing
no,
ovation.
Yeah, as I mentioned before, maybe that much rain, but I mean that much rain. There's just
but you've got a really nice sunset behind you.
Well, that's the
Look at
upside,
sky.
young lady. Yes, as we look out at Ocean Beach and the waves breaking gently on the shore, there's some clouds overhead, but no rain in them. As we have a look at the highs from today, unusually warm for the Bay Area. Napa hit 70 degrees, in San Jose 69. Concord today got up to 67, and San Francisco 66 is all well above average for where we should be in the middle of winter. But it's been nothing but weird lately. Why should today be any different? The high in Santa Rosa, 67 degrees today, was within 4 degrees of the record high for the date, and 38 last night. No precip, of course. Low temperatures tonight. It'll be fairly balmy. I mean, for nighttime temperatures in February, because we've got high clouds that are coming in overhead tonight. So you know that story. More clouds. It doesn't get quite as cold at night usually. 44 degrees at Napa. Same for San Jose. In San Francisco, down to 48 degrees, and elsewhere in the 40s. Well, this low that was firmly up in the Gulf is now heading south, as it was forecast to do. If we had gotten rain out of this, it would have come closer to the Pacific Northwest. It would have had significant moisture. It would have had good cold air support. It has none of these things. The only thing it's doing is heading south into the Southland. Now, Los Angeles and San Diego, as this thing continues to move down to that's a part of California, will bring more clouds to the Bay Area, but it will bring rain to San Diego County and Los Angeles and parts of Santa Barbara. They'll get about 1/4 of an inch of rain down south, but it's going to miss us almost entirely. We get some moisture on the top of it, but that's about it. Instead, we continue with unusually warm temperatures. Tomorrow, San Francisco hits 70, Oakland at 72 is 12 degrees above average. San Jose about the same, 73, and 72 at Concord. So we'll be in 70s tomorrow for quite a bit of the Bay Area. 73 at Santa Clara, 72 at Milpitas. And in Union City, 72 degrees. Over in the East Bay tomorrow, we do have the high clouds around, but the numbers will still be warm. 72 at Pleasant Hill, 70 at Danville, and 71 degrees at Dublin, 73 at Livermore. And for the North Bay, a little patchy fog tonight, but not bad. Ukiah at 73 and Lakeport at 72. 75 degrees at the northern end of the Napa Valley. And mid-70s in St. Helena in February. Wow. In the extended forecast, we're going to be looking for high clouds again tomorrow. The numbers will be in the mid-70s in the warmest locations. And we do cool it down as we get into the weekend. There is a chance of a few sprinkles coming in early Saturday morning. But the probability is we won't even get that. And then after that, next week, we go to sunshine, clear skies, and again, no prospects of rain. That's what's ahead in the forecast. Here's Liz with what's next in news.
Thank you, Brian. New at 6, a Bay Area startup just unveiled synthetic wine and sake. So how exactly are they making it? Plus, a search for a Palo Alto couple lost in Point Reyes takes a new turn, what investigators are now focused on. And a KPIX 5 exclusive. A couple goes on a cruise of a lifetime only to be quarantined twice for possible coronavirus. Why they say that they're worried about how the U.S. is handling the situation.
And coming up next, a tearful reunion as a Bay Area military father surprises his kids at their school.
And don't forget, we're streaming right now on CBS and Bay Area. You can always find us on KPIX.com, the CBS News app, or on your favorite platform.
It was homecoming day at Murray Elementary School in Dublin.
But not the kind with a football game or a big dance. This one came after a long year for one special family. It seemed like a typical assembly day for second grader Brendan and kindergartner Ethan. Little did they know this gathering was all for them.
When was the last time you saw your kids?
324 days ago, but I'm not counting. It's been a long time coming.
Hiding behind the scenes, U.S. Navy Lieutenant Darren Nelson, otherwise known as Dad. He'd been stationed in Africa, missing birthdays, holidays, and the regular days in between. So his wife, Daylene, wanted to make his homecoming extra special for the boys and their littlest brother, Caleb. She called up the school, who called up the district, and today...
So you will have somebody in your family that's a police officer, military, firefighters, nurses, teachers. Would you come join me up on this stage?
Brendan and Ethan stood in front of the curtain and explained that their dad had been gone a long time.
I'm wondering if it would be amazing if you were to see him right now. Would that be cool? Yeah.
Hey, boys.
A whole lot of hugs and some tears later.
Just happy that these boys didn't hit me when I turned around because I knew it was like a 50-50. But that was one of the best moments of my life. So just excited to be home with these guys.
Are you guys proud of your dad? Yeah.
As for what's next,
they've been talking about since the day he left having an all-out Nerf gun war.
Thanks go to everyone who made this possible, and just thanks to this community. It's a great one.
Oh.
Wow, 324 days, but who's counting?
I think I'm crying.
That's it for the news at 5.
KPIX 5 News at 6 begins right now with Ken Bastida and Elizabeth Cook.
Now at 6, Oakland residents meeting right now in the East Bay. They just found out about toxic groundwater that shut down a high school.
As soon as you got off the ship, that's when everything went crazy.
Bay Area couple went on what was supposed to be the cruise of a lifetime, only to be quarantined twice for possible coronavirus symptoms. Why, they say they're worried about how the U.S. is handling the outbreak.
And trying to crack a cold case more than 4 decades later. Why a mysterious disappearance is now hinged on a newly discovered photo from the 1970s. Our top story on KPIX 5 and streaming on CBSN Bay Area. Toxic groundwater in Oakland. Good evening, I'm Elizabeth Cook.
And I'm Ken Bassett. A high school campus has been shut down after the chemical TCE was found in water underneath the campus. And we have team coverage on this story tonight. Betty Yu is at the community meeting starting any moment now. Let's begin with Juliette Goodrich, who is live at McClymonds High School, where officials are planning to test the air for the chemical. Jules?
Yes, and TCE is a known carcinogen, so they're taking this very seriously. They're going to be doing the air testing, but before they even wait to get those results, they wanted to be proactive. The school district making the call last night and alerting parents, schools closed.
No, we had no idea that the school would be closing.
Parents got the call late last night. The high school will be closed the rest of the week and possibly into next week.
They're at home now. I mean, there was no plan for today, just to close the school. That's it. The school is just closed.
When the school was removing an underground fuel tank outside the gymnasium last fall and did some testing, the unexpected was uncovered. Levels of TCE.
We were all surprised to find that TCE.
A cancer-causing chemical detected in groundwater under the campus.
We are concerned that it could be vaporizing. That is seeping up through the ground, exiting the ground and getting into the air, in particular in our buildings. So that's what we're highly concerned about right now. That's why we exercised the caution that we did by closing school and making sure that our staff and our students were out and safe.
The school's drinking water was not affected, but air testing is being conducted.
We know of at least 3 locations in our neighborhood right around McClymonds that are dealing with TCE levels that are very high.
The source of the TCE is not confirmed, but state and county officials believe it came from somewhere off campus, possibly a former plating shop business.
Right now, we don't have any data that says there is groundwater in the neighborhood. We have data that says we have it here, so we're starting here. We're moving quickly.
And the school district says they don't know how long those levels have been on campus. They don't know where the origin is, for that matter. Until they get definitive results, they want to be perfectly safe and clear with all of the students and parents that there will be no school. Ken, if it extends further into next week and beyond, those 350 students will likely have to attend school in other areas for their studies.
Juliette Goodrich in the East Bay. Thank you, Juliette. KPIX 5's Betty Yu continues our coverage now from just down the street at Taylor Memorial Methodist Church, where a community meeting on this issue is just getting underway. Betty?
That's right, Ken. It just started a few minutes ago, and community members, parents, very upset and concerned, are just trickling in right now, hoping to get more information about this toxic substance known as TCE. We know that it is a compound that's generally used as an industrial solvent. It is colorless, non-flammable, and has a slightly sweet smell. Now, just moments ago, I spoke to a very concerned parent who says his son spends a lot of time on school grounds because he's also an athlete.
Well, I mean, like, we've had 2 students that passed away from cancer in the last few years. And, that's the worst. My son been on that football field for the last 3 years. So you worry about these things. He's getting ready to go off to college now. And, I don't want any issues behind it. I'm concerned about all the kids.
And tonight, school board officials tell us that they will also hold another meeting with more details about where students will go in the long term after tonight's. Of course, we'll bring you all the details on tonight's meeting at 11 o'clock. Live in Oakland, Betty Yu, KPIX 5.
We stream the announcement on the toxic groundwater live on CBSN Bay Area. You can find us on KPIX.com, the CBS News app, or your favorite platform. Quarantined twice for the coronavirus. Now one is hospitalized.
Yeah, a trip of a lifetime turns into a nightmare for a Redwood City couple. Alan Martin has more.
1, 2, 3.
On January 27th, on board the Diamond Princess, Rick and Kathy Wright of Redwood City had two good reasons for a toast.
We were celebrating our 28th wedding anniversary and also celebrating that we were now empty nesters.
To me, it just sounded really romantic and great that it's the first time in 28 years they haven't had kids living in the house, so they're going to celebrate and go on this amazing luxury cruise.
Now, Kathy remains quarantined at Travis Air Force Base. Her husband, Rick, taken away by gurney last night to a San Francisco hospital. The bad news came with a knock on the door.
We're really sorry to inform you, but your test has come back positive.
Positive for COVID-19, the potentially deadly disease caused by the new coronavirus. The test done in Japan.
And we, of course, cried for a little bit and then gathered his stuff.
The death toll from the coronavirus outbreak continues to climb. The second largest cluster of cases on board the Diamond Princess. More than 600 passengers have tested positive, including Rick. Kathy is concerned.
I'm just hoping for the best that I don't have it. Hello.
Kathy is a registered nurse. On the cruise ship, she and Rick stayed quarantined in their cabin, getting fresh air from a private balcony and taking their own temperatures. Japanese health officials kept them informed 3 times daily.
Well, it really alleviates your fears.
Things went awry, Kathy says, when U.S. officials began to evacuate them.
As soon as you got off the ship, that's when everything went crazy.
Kathy recounts how they sat on buses for nearly 6 hours, breathing in stagnant air with passengers who coughed, sneezed, and vomited.
You're sitting in this petri dish of germs.
On the 10-hour flight home, Kathy noticed not all the passengers wore masks, and everyone ate from communal food tables.
Petri dish that's much tighter with stagnant air. And
Yes.
all these infected passengers.
And from what she told us, the staff that was on board wasn't told anything either.
Allie and Carly Hoffman are Kathy's daughters and also nurses.
Hey, Mom!
Hi, Mom!
Oh, hey, Rick!
2 nights ago, they spoke to their mom and stepdad on FaceTime.
Great that we have modern technology to see them, but it'll be really relieving to actually physically touch them and see them.
No matter your age, you always want your mom.
True.
And so I can't wait to see her in 2 weeks.
Kathy just got swabbed to retest for the disease. If it's negative, she gets to go home after her 14-day quarantine. In San Francisco, Alan Martin, KPIX 5.
It's hard because you're stuck.
What a mess.
You're stuck. There's no way, there's no place for you to go.
No, even getting out, you're stuck.
And then you're seeing that you're communing with these people that are sick.
Yeah.
Aggravating. Well, KPIX 5 News reached out to the U.S. Department of State for a response, but have yet to hear back from them.
Well, we invite you to stay with KPIX 5 for your continuing coverage of the coronavirus. We have you covered on air and online at kpix.com.
Housing activists marched to San Francisco City Hall today to demand safe and affordable options for the African American community. The Coalition on Homelessness claims Black females are being disproportionately pushed out through high eviction rates and lower than average incomes.
It costs too much to live here. Who can pay rent with $15 an hour? Who? Who can pay rent with $15 an hour?
We need to have more subsidies for people in order to be able to get on their feet and be housed so that we don't have this homeless crisis that we have now.
The activists are also asking for a new full-service shelter for families with children. Meanwhile, across the Bay, the Berkeley City Council will vote later this month on a proposal to give renters the right to make the first offer when their apartment buildings or rented homes are put up for sale. It's meant to target large corporate landlords, but opponents say it would end up penalizing individual homeowners with unfair constraints. San Francisco has a similar law called COPA, which gives nonprofits the first opportunity to purchase properties when they're up for sale and keep tenants in place.
A nearly week-long search effort for a Palo Alto couple who went mysteriously missing in Marin County has now stalled. And KPIX 5's Don Ford explains why crews are now turning to the water.
Still no sign of the missing couple here in Inverness, but late this afternoon, the Marin County Sheriff says there's been a significant development right here At Shell Beach. For days, the area has been searched over and over. Aircraft, drones, mules, tracking dogs, and yes, cadaver dogs.
We have 4 canine hits in the area of Shell Beach, and these are 4 different teams operating over 2 days.
Cadaver dogs are not infallible, but the repeated alerts by different dogs on different days along the shore has changed the complexion of the operation. It's no longer search and rescue.
We feel it is more likely that they're in the water at this time, and we're calling it a recovery mission.
77-year-old Carol Kaparsky and 72-year-old Ian Irwin left their vacation rental last Saturday and haven't been seen since. Marin Search and Rescue says even if the clues now point to the water, they will not stop looking on land until Carol and Ian are located.
We're going to go back out on Saturday and do some focus searching with canine teams and shoreline searches with ground teams.
Family members from out of state are nearby and are keeping a low profile. In Inverness, Don Ford, KPIX 5.
Still ahead on KPIX 5, CBS Bay Area, a case that has set cold for more than 4 decades and may now have a lead in the new evidence that just surfaced.
Plus, someone just got rich. Details on the big money lotto ticket sold right here in the Bay Area.
And more on our bone dry February. A newly released drought map shows some cause for concern, Brian.
Yeah, so is the forecast, frankly. We've got clouds hanging over the Bay Area tonight. Clouds and the prospect for the tiniest amount of rain. We've got it in the forecast when we come back.
New clues in a decades-old Bay Area cold case. This is one of the last photos of Sherry Roach, taken right before her disappearance in 1976. KPIX 5's Da Lin spoke to police who say the man in the photo could help solve this mystery. That is, if they can track him down.
Detectives are circulating this photo on social media. This was taken more than 4 decades ago. They're hoping someone will recognize the man and identify him.
It gives me hope, just, to give us all closure.
44 years. Not a day goes by without Jerry Roach thinking of his older sister, Sherry.
Maybe she is still alive, which I'm hoping for, but I know it's doubtful because I think if she was alive, she would have contacted me.
Jerry suspects foul play, but San Mateo detectives simply don't know what happened to her. She was reported missing in 1976. The 17-year-old girl just vanished.
What individuals that might be considered serial killers that might have been in custody at the time when she had disappeared.
Detective Tom Paulin uncovered this photo taken before Sherry went missing. Investigators hope this person of interest can provide some leads. Detectives say if Sherry is still alive, she will look similar to this age progression picture, and she would have just celebrated her 61st birthday. Jerry and his mother still live in Santa Rosa. They're hoping one day Sherry will walk through their door. In San Mateo, I'm Da Lin, KPIX 5.
A dry winter is raising concerns about another potential drought in California and the Bay Area. With little rain so far in February, the Federal Drought Monitor says 59% of California is now experiencing abnormally dry conditions. A comparison of maps from December and this week shows the areas of dryness expanding dramatically. Let's go now to Brian Hackney with the forecast. Any rain, we'll take it.
Yeah, we've got it.
Just a little bit.
It's down in Los Angeles, but there is some rain. Wow.
Send it up here.
I wish we could. That low's just going to spin south of the Bay Area. At the same time, that drought designation is for the lowest of 3 levels of drought, so just beginning to get into a drier than usual period. You know, reservoir storage in the big reservoirs where we stick a straw in and get most of our water out from much of California is not looking bad. Hetch Hetchy, Splice City of San Francisco, is well above average in storage. Oroville, Folsom, they're right there. And then Shasta's a little bit above average. So all is not bleak. It would help if we got some rain shortly, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen, not in the immediate future. Right now, the numbers are mostly in the 60s. We've got some high clouds up top tonight, made for a decent sunset, and unusually warm weather as well. High temperatures today in Concord were 5 degrees above average, just about the same for San Jose and Santa Rosa, upper 60s. Overnight, lows tonight with the high clouds.
Won't be as chilly tonight as we often get in the middle of winter, mid-40s, and that's a heat spell at night. Low pressure is just off the shoreline, but it is destined to head into Southern California. We just get these clouds coming in tomorrow. You'll notice the southerly flow switch from the east to the west later in the time lapse because that low is south of us, and there it goes. It comes from inland out to the coast, and there, ladies and gentlemen, right over what looks to be about Henry Coast State Park, down a bit of Morgan Hill. That's the only indication we have of anything that even looks like rain before it dries up. That's Saturday morning. That's not tomorrow morning. Tomorrow we start out with some sun, and it'll be dry, and then we'll increase high clouds during the day. For tonight, partly cloudy. For tomorrow, it'll still be warm, mild to warm, with a cooler weekend. We'll be back into the lower 60s by this weekend. Just a slight chance, as you just saw, for Saturday morning. So high temperatures for tomorrow. Still plenty warm, well above average in Napa, 74 degrees, in Fairfield 72, and 73 at Livermore, and 73 in San Jose. In the extended forecast, it'll cloud up, it'll set the stage, and then it won't rain. Saturday and Sunday, we get clouds, temperatures cool down, but then next Monday through Thursday, it looks like an exceptionally sunny week. For us to get any significant rain, we would really have to luck out big time, just like a lottery winner in San Leandro. Kenny?
You remember that? Who wants to be a millionaire? Well, you got to check those Powerball tickets tonight, especially if you bought one in San Leandro. A winning ticket was sold at the Food Max on Llewellyn Boulevard. It is worth $7 million. Big ones. Matched 5 numbers in last night's drawing. Missed the Powerball number by that much. The winning numbers were 10, 12, 15, 19, 56, and Vern, the Powerball number, 19. Oh. The jackpot for the next drawing on Saturday has grown to $60 million.
Whew. Glad my hand skis. Hey, sports settling in at 6. What a future Hall of Famer says about snitches. Who was he referring to? And is Stephen Curry making a comeback this season? Baseball up top, and the man who started it all, the sign-stealing whistleblower, A's pitcher Mike Fiers. He told the San Francisco Chronicle he received death threats since he announced publicly that the Astros used video to steal signs in winning the 2017 World Series. Former Red Sox star David Ortiz took issue with Fiers, who was a part of that Astros championship team.
I'm mad at this guy, the pitcher that came out talking about it, and let me tell you why. Oh, after you make your money, after you get your ring, you decide to talk about it? Why don't you talk about it during the season when it was going on? Why you didn't say, I don't want to be no part of? Oh, now, so you look like a snitch. You know what I mean?
NBA. So I was talking to Captain Obvious today. You know what he said? Usually after the All-Star game, the second half of the season begins. Thank you, Captain Obvious. No Steph Curry tonight when they host the Rockets. But look, out since October with a broken hand, he's a full participant at practice, targeting an early March return. Opposing coaches know it's only a matter of time.
Steph started working out with the team earlier this week, couple weeks probably.
He's not ready yet, right?
No, not
okay,
yet.
Good. All right.
I'm more excited for these young guys to get a chance to play with him as well, you know, and because the game will change, and so it'll be good for them to get that little bit of experience with him going into next year.
All right, here's the latest video with former All-Pro wideout Antonio Brown. Remember his helmet issues with the Raiders? Could have used a good one here. Oh! This was from a workout today. Don't worry, folks. He's okay. Hey, last Saturday, remember this? Archbishop Midi star Aaron Gordon over 7'5" Taco Fall. Well, here's former NBA All-Star Marcus Johnson over 2 tacos on his 64th birthday. Thank you, Marcus. Thank you for that effort.
No tacos,
very good.
No tacos were harmed.
I hope when I'm 64, I too can jump over 2 tacos on a Nerf basketball.
Yeah.
Speaking of basketball, Charles Barkley, 57 years old today. Round, mound, or rebound?
Yeah. They're all getting older, Vern.
I like his golf swing.
Oh, you too?
We'll leave it at that. We'll
It's
be right
got
back.
character. We'll be right back.
Tonight on the CBS Evening News, fertility breakthrough, a new option for women with cancer that could help them have children after treatment. That's all tonight here on the CBS Evening News.
Wine with no grapes, sake with no rice.
Well, a San Francisco startup just unveiled synthetic versions of two drinks made from molecules in a lab. Endless West has a synthetic whiskey on the market called Glyph. Now, the company says the goal is sustainability and affordability. Also, something they call digitizing alcohol to eventually make a copy that can be replicated in the future. Okay.
I'd have to try it.
I'm more old school when it comes to that.
And then try it again.
Yeah. You'd be there.
And again?
Test.
Maybe again.
Hold on, one more. Thanks for watching at 6. The news continues streaming on CBS and Bay Area. CBS Evening News is next.